Hi, I'm Will,
And I'm Divya.
and we're the co-founders of Effectiveness for Geeks.
And today we have another free video training series for you.
5 easy steps to stop procrastinating today.
And we know this is a relevant problem because almost everyone that we work with suffers from procrastination, and they have big dreams and they're really excited about the things they could do and their potential. And they're also scared that they won't accomplish any of it because they procrastinate.
So that's why the first video that we have for you is about the 3 beliefs that keep you from acting here and now.
That's right. If you want to get started on accomplishing the great things in your life, you need to change what's going on in your head. And we have the top 3 beliefs today for you to work on.
All of you have this potential inside of you, and if you can just change your mind on these few things, you can get started working right now on the things that you care about.
All right, let's dive right in. You want to say what the first one is?
The very first belief that you need to change is that you work better under pressure.
Yeah, it's easy to see where this belief comes from because if you're anything like us, sometimes you don't work at all unless you're under pressure.
Yeah.
That's where you got this idea.
Ultimately, if you're really being driven by that fear that you need to get something done or there will be some horrible consequence, the only time that that can actually motivate you is the very last minute, because that's when the fear builds to such a point, it becomes so strong that it can actually motivate you to action.
Yeah, and if you have this belief, then of course you're going to leave it until the last minute. That's just how it works. And part of the problem with this is for many things in life, we don't have hard deadlines. And so if you keep going until the very last minute to achieve your dreams, well, that doesn't make any sense.
If you want to be a self-starter, you need to be able to do things without someone putting that pressure on you.
And another truth to this belief is that a sense of urgency and motivation is required. Pressure is one way you can get that, but it's far from the only way. So that's the first belief. And keep that in mind. We'll review them at the end, and we'll have an exercise to do for you. But let's now introduce the second one.
Number 2, that it feels better to procrastinate than it does to do the work.
Right.
This one's really insidious. Because it's so easy to pretend like, oh yeah, all I'm doing is just reading this nice blog, this nice article on the internet. This is really pleasant. But at the same time, you're still living with that constant fear and anxiety.
Yeah, it's like a vice in my chest, actually, every moment that I'm doing something that's supposedly more fun than whatever it is I'm supposed to be working on. And it's just not true. Something that it is true that starting might be a little bit more difficult in some sense. It might be less what your current habit is, but it's very rarely true that it actually feels worse. Procrastinating hurts.
Yeah, and it hurts every single minute that you do it. Because you know eventually you have to do it. And it's not actually going to be easier doing it later than it is doing it now.
So this belief that isn't even true can hold you back from accomplishing your dreams.
The number three major belief that we need to break you of right now is that you need to wait to feel motivated before starting the task.
Yeah, this one, if you have this, you will never get anything done because, well, what's the best way to feel motivation for a task?
Is to start doing it and realize it's not nearly as bad as you think it is.
There'll be more about this in later video trainings, but this core belief, I'm sure that you have implicitly believed that this was true at some point in your life, which is why you didn't start something. And if you continue to think this way, then you will never start anything because very rare the motivation will just come and seize you and do it.
Manna from heaven. I'm motivated now. All of a sudden I want to do all the work that I have to do.
Right. Then you will accomplish things maybe 3 times a year. And by that I mean you will even sit down to start doing work several times a year. So this one is really bad and will keep you from your dreams.
You will find that once you start working on it and you do realize that it's actually not nearly as painful as you thought and that you're making rapid progress and you feel that sense of relief on the horizon, believe me, that is where motivation comes from.
All right, so I'm going to review the beliefs, and then do you want to tell them about our little extra bit of motivation for them to actually go through with this? Okay, so the first belief is I work better under pressure. You don't. The second belief is that procrastination feels better than working on your task, which it does not. Yeah, and the third one is I should wait for motivation before I get started, which is, I think, the worst of them all.
So you can use this information. You can really internalize these 3 new ways of thinking that actually will make it possible for you to start working on the things that matter to you now.
And the way you can get started is by filling out the exercise that we have linked for you below. It's just a simple worksheet, and we're going to have you list for each belief the ways in which it holds you back, and then also what your life would look like without this belief.
All right, I want you to pause this video right now and go open the PDF. You can even make a printout of it and write this out by hand if that helps you. So go do that now and come back.
We'll be back with you in a minute.
All right, so the first step, the first thing that you need to do is for each of these beliefs, write down the ways that having this belief right now is holding you back from doing the things that you want to do. And once you have that done, the second step is to imagine in as much detail as you can what your life would look like, what you would be doing right now if you did not have each of these 3 beliefs. What would be different? What would your life look like if you did not have these 3 beliefs? Write that now, and we'll see you at our second video training about how to clear your mind and focus on what you need to work on.
Okay, one more thing before we get to that video training. We have a little extra motivation for you. A little contest. If you keep track of your exercises and you send them to us at, how about at divya@effectivenessforgeeks.com. That's DIVIA at effectivenessforgeeks.com. If you do this, there are going to be a number of videos, and if you send us your exercises for each one, there will be a special prize at the end.
That's right, and we'll tell you what it is in the last video, so stay tuned.